you stop somebody and say, are you a good collaborator? People will probably say, well, I share, I communicate, I'm pretty open. Yeah, I'm pretty good. But what makes somebody a good collaborator and somebody else not? And how do we make sure that an organization actually makes headway in terms of becoming better at collaboration? And people are pretty much unanimous in that improving collaboration is a key to improving productivity, reducing costs, all sorts of things, better, faster solutions that come. So in terms of today, and we started a little late, I'll speak quickly, I'll go through, but I'll try and leave a few minutes for questions at the end too, is we're going to take a look at who owns it. If it's so important, shouldn't somebody own it? We're going to take a look at the whole environment of remote workers and distributed teams. More and more people working from home. How do they figure into the whole collaborative landscape? And we've got more and more teams that are working together, scattered across multiple locations. How does that work? And then I want you to think about everything I say in two different contexts. Because especially in your industry, things are happening where all of a sudden we're talking 3P. And the one lens that I want you to listen with is actually the company internal collaboration that takes place every day. And that's cross-functional, it's within teams, it's hierarchical teams. It happens within your own firewall. The second one is actually from, we're going to collaborate on a particular project. So multiple parties get together and we do this in a collaborative effort. And this is where oftentimes people get all excited and they find partners very quickly and they bid on a project, and then as the project gets executed, things start falling apart because we're different cultures, we didn't really think that you had responsibility for that, and how does that work? So we'll take a look at that. So what's happening in the landscape from a work perspective? It's stretched everywhere. So on one side, we've got this whole remote work thing that's happening. People want to work from home, commuting times are too long, and technology is allowing us to do that. So they want the flexibility to be able to go to Johnny's soccer game or a ballet performance, whatever it is. And work for many people and many companies is now becoming something that people do, not a place that they go. That's a shift in the head in terms of what's happening. It opens a door for all sorts of issues from IT security. IT typically hates this. They pull their hair out because how much are we exposing our network, our company confidential information to outside interests if people are working from home and all over the place. On the other end, what's happening at the office place? And this is where a lot of companies all of a sudden are talking about something new, which we didn't talk about even 2 years ago, I would say, and that is the employee to desk ratio. We all either had an office or a desk that we went to that belonged to ours. We put a picture up. And what we're seeing now is many of the companies are saying, we're actually going into some sort of a free-form office environment where people grab a seat as they need it. And it could be in an area that's open space where teams can sit together or individuals can work quietly in a corner and make phone calls, these types of things. So all of a sudden, the companies, many organizations are saying from half the desks are empty all the time, we can do with less desks. And I've seen large organizations right now that are actually doing it to improve collaboration and flexibility for the teams, but the hidden end and the benefit for them is a reduction in real estate. If you've got 30,000 people across North America and you implement a plan and you encourage people to work from home 2 days a week, that translates directly into less office space. Then we're trying to look at movement tracking, and this is where the Internet of Things start coming in. And more they want to understand, how do we use the office space that we have? And they're using badging data, but also to the point now where there's organizations that are using Wi-Fi tracking. Now, I don't know how many of you realize that, but in many retail stores, retail environments, if you have your phone on, they're watching which aisle you walk down and which display you stop in front of. So they're heat mapping. They can do that in an office space, and they're using that to figure out how do we use the space, and if we're reconfiguring or we're building a new office, do we need more smaller conference rooms because the average meeting size is 4? Or do we need the bigger ones because there's always 10 people in the room?
And there's no other way really to look at that, but that's coming into this whole space as we're going on. Then they're also looking at adjacency and collisions, which is let's get the people together that are working together so they sit adjacent to each other. And on the flip side, it's also about creating collisions, which is these chance meetings, and it's what's supposed to happen at the water cooler. And it's like, oh, I haven't seen you for a while, John. What are you working on? Well, that's an interesting project. You should talk with so-and-so. And this is the connections that are made haphazardly, whatever. It's at lunch, I had a conversation with somebody, and it's again one of these things. It's interesting and it's